Good day, it's Sandy, your sister and your friend. I wanted to talk today about something I've been thinking a lot about lately. So today's question is, did I choose my present moment? I heard Eckhart Tolle say that we should accept each moment as if we had chosen it. So let's think about that for a moment. I've spoken a lot about how each of us is a higher being than our physical bodies. It's something that's often termed awareness or our true self. It's a place that's not really a place. It's where we have every person has existed in God, in the source of life. The you that's been conditioned by life circumstances, the one with all the defined characteristics and roles, the things that we carry around to define ourselves, that doesn't really exist in this silence, in this spaciousness. It's the real you without any attachments. I heard Muji say in one of his meditations, it's where you see without eyes, you know without mind, and you be without becoming. That's all very deep. So if this true self, this awareness, chose the exact thing that's happening in this present moment, what exactly does that mean? Well, let's say that the real me chose for me to be talking to this nice person in front of me, or it chose for me to be looking at the car next to me, who the driver is shaking his fist at me because I accidentally cut him off in traffic, or it is real me knows I'm going into a test that I haven't prepared for, or I'm going into a test that I fully prepared for. What does it mean that my true self chose this for me? What's the point of that? Well, what I'm beginning to realize is that my high self knows that I'm ready to handle the situation that I'm about to face, or I am facing. This person or this challenge in front of me may be about to bring up something from my past that's been holding me down. My true self wants to help me examine it and let go of it so I can get free of it. My awareness is who I am, and it knows everything I've gone through and is always doing things to help set me free. Now, this can happen with things that are seemingly important and things that don't seem to be significant at all. I heard the late Roy Masters say that one of his students, as she was leaving, he said, take care. And she twirled around and looked at him and said, why did you say that to me? He said, it's just a common, courtesy when somebody's leaving to say something. And she said, my mother always said that to me, and she was always cruel to me. Well, that was a surprise to him, and probably to her as well. But perhaps her true self was trying to help her forgive her mother. So you may be thinking, though, well, how could somebody who's facing the horrors of war, or who's being abused, or who's an innocent victim in any situation, how could they accept the awful situation in front of them as if their true self had chosen it? Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not a psychologist and I can't answer that question. Um, but let's go back to what Eckhart Tolle said. He said to accept each situation as if we had chosen it. Now that's altogether different. Now it's a matter of, hey, I'm facing something terrible and I'm weaker than my perpetrator. All I have control over is my response to this terrible situation that I'm in. What would my true self have me do about it? Well, if I accept everything as if it's something that I am able to face, it puts everything in a different light. If I'm literally running away from someone chasing me, I won't be running in a fearful frenzy. No, I'll be running with wisdom, knowing exactly what I should do or where I should hide. Now, let's say I'm been caught already. And so now how do I respond? Well, I won't be afraid of the bully who caught me. He'll see the strength in my eyes, and I'll be vibrating confidence and life and maybe even love when I get really good at this. In Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul, he gives an extreme example. He says, suppose you've been thrown into prison and you are shackled and you don't have, nobody's giving you food and water, and all this was done unjustly to you. So now you can focus on the injustice of it all, pulling against the chains and wailing and hoping that someone will hear you and come and save you. Or you can have fun with this and you can pretend to be Gandhi and imagine that your suffering is for the good of the world and your imprisonment will bring peace to all men. Can you see how these radically different mindsets would vibrate at different levels and that could change everything? Whatever we give attention to grows bigger because we give it energy. Um, we can see in Philippians, there are examples in the Bible. Paul wrote in Philippians that as an encouragement to Christians, he said, whatever things are true, whatever things are honorable, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there's any virtue and if there's any praise, think about these things. He didn't say to just think on these things when you're having a good day. He said to think on these higher things all the time in every circumstance. Paul actually wrote about a circumstance that's very similar to what Michael Singer's example was. He said that he and Silas were in a town and they were accused unjustly, they were beaten and they were thrown into prison and they were shackled. Instead of bemoaning and their fate, and instead of that, they began to pray and sing praises to God. The other prisoners listened to them. Paul and Silas were feeling and releasing joy and gratitude in the middle of the injustice. It didn't seem to matter to them whether they were in prison or in the home of a friend. They were going to praise God either way. About midnight, a great earthquake shook the foundations of the jail, and the doors of all the cells opened up, and the prisoners' chains fell off. The jailer awoke, and he was about to kill himself, thinking that all the prisoners had escaped. Paul stopped him, telling him that everyone was still there. The jailer took Paul and Silas to his home and dressed their wounds, and the next day Paul and Silas were released from prison by the magistrate. In Buddhist teachings, Buddha went to the highest place, nirvana, and when he came back, he saw that every human suffers. The Buddhist teachings don't say, I feel sorry for your suffering. They say, I have seen the cause of your suffering, and you don't have to suffer. You need to transcend the state you're sitting in. Everyone is suffering. Buddha said there's one cause of all suffering, and that is desire. Eckhart Tolle says another word for desire is preference. We all seem to have preferences. It's because we elevate one desire above another that we suffer. We all have a choice about how to handle every situation that comes up in our life. When we accept it as if our true self chose it for us, we will even welcome it and say, come on in. I'm so glad you're here to help me get rid of something. This reaction means that I will intentionally contemplate what wants to come out of me when an old trigger comes up. Instead of reacting in the old ways, I can stop and consider, why am I feeling this way? Does this person or circumstance remind me of something that happened to me in my past? Did this person say or do something that's familiar to me, but familiar in a not so good way? Am I about to heap a bunch of negative stuff from my past onto this person? This contemplation may take some time. I find that often I don't respond in the circumstance at all because I'm busy doing the work that's going on inside of me. Excuse me. As you consider why your psyche didn't just let this thing pass on by you, you may notice that you wanted something else to happen. For instance, he said he wanted to be your friend, but you wanted him to say that he loves you. You wanted the pretty blue car to be available in your price range, but only the beige car is available. You wanted the sun to shine today, but not too hot because you wanted to go on a hike this afternoon. It's our desire, our preference for how we want the outside to be that causes us to suffer. Once we start to realize this, we will stop trying to control everything around us and simply decide to accept and enjoy everything in our life as if we chose it for ourselves. Thank you so much for listening. I just love being in God's family with you. Subscribe if you want to, and share a comment below, or tell me what questions that you're considering and would like to talk about. I'll post again soon, and I'll put links to some of the things I was talking about here today. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.